Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show Recap Podcast. I'm Ty from the Unemployed Architects. Had a pretty crazy long week, really. It was a lot of shows, 4 shows in 3 days. And it was busy. It was nice not to have to totally work that whole time too, which, would have been a little bit of a bummer. So that is good. And everything overall I think went pretty well. A little bit of weirdness on a couple of them, but I mean, for the most part, I don't think I've ever made that much money in that short amount of time, really. And a lot of it was due to the second show. Anyway, so let's get into them here. I had Friday night, I played in Pontiac at the Cellar. And then Saturday morning, I played at the Bloomington Farmers Market. Saturday night, I played at a wedding in Washington. And then Sunday was the 4th of July, so we played the big Downs, their town celebration with the fireworks and all that. So, starting with the Friday show, it was a good turnout. I think overall it sounded okay. I got a little bit in my head about trying to play songs that I didn't play the last time I was there, because it wasn't that long ago, and a lot of the same people were there, so it was like I wanted to mix it up a little bit, and I did. I don't know that a lot of those songs went amazingly, but I was trying to shake it up a little bit, and I mean it was fun. I did some weird ones, and some of them were rewarding. I did a Old King song called Manhattan, and I haven't played in a long time, and that one went really well. I played Set Me Down on a Cloud by Lucas Nelson, which there's a few people there that we had seen him live at the Canopy Club a few years back, and we're all kind of fans of his, so it was nice to throw that in there. And I did a lot of originals, and it just kind of fizzled out at the end. It didn't really, the last time I played there, I feel like it was a lot more poppin'. This time it seemed like people wanted it to be like the last time, but it just wasn't quite getting there. But it was fun. I mean, I think it sounded pretty decent. I used my organ machine pedal, which I kind of regret doing because it was just too much noise probably for that tiny room. Kind of maybe threw me off a little bit, but some parts, of the show, it sounded really cool to have that, but I just need to know when to use it and when not to use it, I think. And I was constantly thinking, like, I have 4 shows this week, so I got to kind of conserve my voice, like, a little bit, especially for the farmer's market the next morning. But yeah, I mean, I ended up and played probably an extra 40 minutes. Did okay tips-wise. Everybody there was super nice. I think it could have gone a little better, but it wasn't like the worst I've ever played. I think a majority of it still sounded pretty good. And then I broke a string on the last song, which was a song that I was totally BSing that I hadn't even thought about for years. Remembered all the words, which I was pretty impressed with, but there was like one chord that I couldn't figure out in it, and I just kept trying different ones, and none of them really made sense. But and then at the end of it, like the last chorus, the chord I was trying to figure out. I was just remembering, like, oh, it's just I was playing the wrong order of the chords. It wasn't that I was playing a wrong chord. It was just not the right progression. So that was a little bit annoying. And then the string broke, and then everybody was outside kind of smoking during that song, and it was already 40 minutes over. So I was just like, I'm gonna cut it today. And then of course everybody came back in and wanted me to play more, and I was just like, I don't know that I have it in me, really. But the rest of the show is a lot of fun. The people that come there and kind of dance and sing along are always appreciated. And then Friday morning was a farmer's market. Now, this was the first one I've done. I think it was the first farmer's market that they've had since the pandemic and everything. And in a lot of ways, I could really tell. I mean, I made almost $300 in tips in 2 hours, which I've never made that much money in tips at a farmer's market before. It's usually like anywhere between 50 to 150, depending on the day, but it was crazy. People just kept playing. I don't think I sounded amazing. I mean, it was my AM voice. I think some of it sounded good, but I felt a little undeserving, but people just kept piling up the money, so I was pretty pumped about that. And then the wedding that I played that night, which was way out in the boonies, like it was Washington from Bloomington Drive, was interesting. Lots of winding roads, curvy roads, hills, like almost one lane wide roads, and kind of lots of country. And then you get to like some rich neighborhoods, rich country, and then you're in Washington. And it was like this really nice event center, or it was like a banquet hall, I guess, but it was like a tent essentially. And Lo was supposed to do that one with me, but she wasn't feeling good, so I had contacted Doug. I should have said that I played those first two shows solo. But and then Doug said he could do the Saturday night one, so that kind of was good since it was booked as 2-piece, and I was like worried about, I'd said Lo was gonna come and was worried about, maybe looking a little unprofessional compared to like the actual venue, because it just looked real classy and stuff. But I brought my light rack, which I haven't brought anywhere in a long time, and set that all up. And I got a couple new lights that looked really cool. And doing it, I pretty much did it all myself. Doug kind of was running late because he had to work, and he was just kind of doing it out of the goodness of his heart, I guess. So I got there like 2 hours early, and like I made it look pretty good for just being me, which I kind of have issues with sometimes when especially if I'm, just have an hour to set up or something. But got it looking pretty good, sounding pretty good. Doug got there, and we kind of did a little sound check with him, and it was okay. And then, sorry, yawning. And then everything starts to happen. I played some solo songs, which I don't know, I couldn't quite find my groove in that part, but it sounded okay. And then, like, the ceremony happened, and I talked to the bride, and she was like, the other sound system that they were supposed to have wasn't gonna, kind of bailed at the last minute, so they ended up and used our sound system for, like, everything, and wasn't 100% organized, I would say. Nobody kind of knew when things were supposed to happen, but that all being said, everything went fine. We got a free meal out of it, which was good. And then they did the speeches, they did the dances, and then by the time we played, like before we even started, people were like heading for the door. Like they were ready to get out of there, it seemed like. But we probably played a solid 40 minutes to an hour. I don't even know exactly, but we were booked for like 3.5 hours, but couldn't keep them, I guess. I think people were just anxious to get out of there. There were fireworks going on outside like the whole time, which was kind of annoying to the people giving speeches and stuff. But we got lots of good feedback, and I think it was fine. The venue said we did a good job, and they asked for info in case somebody else needed a wedding band, which made me feel good because I just felt like I was going to look very unorganized, but then I feel like it came across the opposite way, which that like rarely happens. But and then the Sunday show was Downs, and it was hot, that is for sure. And me and Lo went pretty early, and this was everybody. So this was me, Lo, Doug, and Dave. Dave was coming from a festival. He had played down south, so he was just kind of meeting us there. But Lo and I got there early, and we spent a lot of time setting up and kicking and picking. Good musical musical act named Kyle Roney. He played before us from 4 to 6, and every time I hear him, he just sounds better and better. And I mean, he started good, so he sounded great, and he picks good covers and keeps it really upbeat. And it was nice to have that kind of while we were setting up, to kind of listen to him and watch him a little bit. And this was like a big event, so I brought out all the stops pretty much. I brought the light rack. I brought both JBLs. I brought, it was like as big of a setup as I could set up in production. I could make it, and it probably still was like a little quieter than it should have been, but it was fine. I think it being outside and kind of a pretty open area echoed quite a bit, and Doug got there a little bit later than Lo and I, and got him sound checked pretty quick, or set up pretty quick, and then Dave got there about an hour till, and then Kyle was just getting done, and we did like a full check, and everything sounded good. Dave seemed a little tired, but from a long weekend of playing, but we got going. We did a lot of covers and stuff right away, just to kind of try to grab people in, but we kept tucking some originals in there, and I don't know, it was a little uncomfortable for like the first 30 minutes, but after that we kind of all loosened up, and I think we played like a really good show. I think that it was about 2.5 hours straight, and for me it was the fourth show of the 4-show run, so by the time you're in that one, it's like you don't feel like you have as much rope to climb, or a mountain to climb. You're pretty much to the top, so you can really just let loose. And I feel like we got to a point where we were all doing that. I was gonna say too, on that Friday to Saturday thing, so I had the show Friday. I ended up staying up in Pontiac a little bit longer than I had planned, and I slept for about 2 hours for that Saturday show. And I had 2 shows that Saturday, so I did get a good night of sleep, but I was still a little, off my A game, I would say, on Sunday. But we got a lot of really good feedback, and I think we played really well. Doug's fitting in nice and easy, and it's fun to get to play a lot of lead guitar, and lights looked really nice, and I think everything turned out pretty good. I think it was, upper echelon, probably the best show, definitely the best show of the weekend, if not best one in a while, especially all 4 of us. So we had like a real full band kind of feel and sound, and that was fun. And yeah, that was it. It was an interesting night after the show, because there was supposed to be somebody that came and sang the national anthem, and I started asking about that way too early, because for some reason I knew we played till 9:30, but I think somebody had said that we have like 15 minutes left, but they were thinking we were done at 9. So I kept asking for the person that was supposed to sing the national anthem, and then nobody ever came up to do it. So it was like for like the last probably 7 songs, I just kept asking about it, and then nobody came up ever. And then I ended up just kind of DJing the whole fireworks show. I played when I put on the Sandlot soundtrack, really was the main one, and like American Girl and Born in the USA, and there's a Grateful Dead song I put on that Dave wanted me to, just songs like that to kind of keep the fireworks show kind of more entertaining for some people, hopefully. Hopefully it didn't bug anybody. But and then I had so much stuff to tear down after that. We were there for an extra 2 hours. Dave actually couldn't find his keys, and we spent forever looking for those. I didn't really, but Lo and Doug was tearing everything down, and Lo ended up and found them, which I didn't think was even going to be possible. And then there's another girl that came by later. It's like my sister lost her phone, so we helped her look for a little bit. But the whole time it was kind of fun, because we had the lights going, and we were outside at night, and it was we were playing music pretty loud, and it was I was at the top of the mountain. I'd successfully completed a full weekend of shows, and I don't know, that's usually a nice feeling of relief when you get that far. So yeah, that was the weekend. It was very busy, and I'm still kind of recovering from it, but I thought it was definitely a fun one, and a definitely financially beneficial one for sure. And yeah, so that was it. This coming week I have a couple Bloomington shows. I'm playing at Gill Street on Friday. That'll be the 4-piece. And then Saturday's supposed to be Lounge About the Roundabout, which might be 4-piece too. So we'll see what happens, but should be a lot of fun, and really looking forward to it. And as always, I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen, and I will talk to you next time. Have a good one. Bye.